What is up, YouTube? This is the EndZone, where we cover football. We're excited to cover the Arena Football League. We will do a prediction for next week's games, but first, we're going to talk about Week 1's games. We'll just get the blowout out of the way. The Empire defeated the Columbus Destroyers. Not really a close game. Player of the game was Tommy Grady, quarterback of the Albany Empire. He was good last year. He had 25 completions on 34 attempts, 230 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Also, any AAF fans out there, you'll remember Malachi Jones. Yes, he came from the Empire, went to the AAF, and now is back at the Empire. He had a touchdown. He had 11 catches and 94 yards. So he had an incredible game for the Empire. The defense was led by linebacker Jeremy Richardson, who for his first game had 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. That's pretty impressive. And then also Terrence Moore had 5.5 tackles and 1 pick on the opening night. Columbus suffered from turnovers, and eventually Grant Russell came in the game in relief of Danny Southwick. He threw 2 touchdowns, but Columbus needs to get back on their feet for Week 2. Expansion team that fared well in their season opener was Atlantic City, barely losing to the seasoned Philadelphia Soul. Atlantic City was in this game the whole darn way. They were even up in the first quarter, but they could not get the win. The Blackjacks quarterback, Randy Hippert, had a pretty good start for his team. He had 26 attempts, 18 completions, 178 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 picks. And the defense even had a great opening night. I know the score doesn't say that, but they held Dan Radabaugh to 21 completions on 31 attempts, only 151 yards and 2 touchdowns. They even picked him off. That was Marvin Ross, who had the only Blackjacks interception. James Romaine was definitely the playmaker who changed this game. He had 2 interceptions, which helped out the Philadelphia Soul. The last game was the Brigade and the Valor. 59-51 goes to the Brigade. You look at these stats, you're definitely going to see quarterback Shane Boyd, who was the MVP of the game. He had 19 completed passes, 232 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Joe Powell was named the defensive player of the game. He had 6.5 tackles, 6 solo tackles, very impressive, and 2 interceptions, so he had a great game. Although they did win, Omar Smith, head coach of the Baltimore Brigade, said that he was not happy with the execution, but would rather be on the winning side of that column. They still got work to do. Now let's talk a little bit about the Valor. The Valor lost this game in the turnover section. It was not an easy game, especially it's never an easy game when you turn the ball over, but it definitely hurt them. Marvell Nelson, though, he had 8 touchdowns. He definitely played a great game at the quarterback position. The Valor are still one of the top teams in this league. If they could cut down on the turnovers and on these mistakes, they can definitely get some wins in the Arena Football League. Now let's get into predictions for Week 2. Alright guys, we're going to do this really quickly. Philly and Baltimore. I'm going to go with Baltimore because of Arvell Nelson, 8 touchdowns last week. Next game up, Columbus and Atlantic City. Atlantic City all the way. They almost beat the Empire last week. Columbus has lots of work to do. Washington and Albany. I'm going to pick Albany. You know why? Malachi Jones, AAF. Gotta represent. Those are my picks. Let me know your picks down in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed coverage of the Arena Football League. We'll keep this up all year round. Thanks for watching the EndZone. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment.